As Camden National Bank celebrates 150 years of supporting local businesses, customers, and communities with their financial needs, we want to thank those who put their trust in us. You're the real reason we're celebrating this exciting milestone. And while we've grown to help more individuals and businesses, our commitment to giving back to our community remains constant. Whether it's joining in the fun at the Camden Snowball for the annual US National Toboggan Championship, or serving cookies and cocoa at Christmas by the Sea, or handing out towels following the Camden Windjammer Festival lobster crate races in the summertime, we continue to immerse ourselves in our communities. That way, those who live here know they have a true financial partner. We're thankful for the work Camden Famous is doing to shine a light on the businesses and neighbors who have contributed to shaping this Midcoast community and our organization.
Welcome to the Camden Famous podcast. I'm your host, April Shaw-Beaudoin, and today we're here with CMCA. I'm joined by Robert Walterstorff, who's the executive director at CMCA, artist Hannah Berta, who also works there, and Leah Frenny. Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to the show, guys.
We're glad to be here. Thanks for inviting us. We're going to have fun, right?
We're having so much fun already. All right. So CMCA stands for the Center of Contemporary Art.
Actually, the Center for Maine Contemporary Art, which is one of our big defining features.
Thank you for the immediate correction. So there's actually a lot of things that differentiate CMCA from the other museums in Maine and in New England. And I think we could start there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is we're about contemporary art. We're about the contemporary moment. And I've been a director of a number of museums, and directors love to collect objects, artworks that are there for all time. But I think it's so cool, in fact, that we don't have a collection at all. We don't collect, but we are very much about this moment and the future. And that makes us about the cool, the way out there, what's going on right now. We're about creativity and invention. Is that what you guys think? What defines CMCA for you?
The history of it defines it for me, I'd say. CMCA is a longstanding Maine institution, and we do have a really rich history of engaging with local artists and Maine artists and showing their work, showing what's happening now in the Maine scene.
Yeah, Hannah's talking about a rich history. We're almost 75 years old. We were founded in 1952. And one thing that I think is great about CMCA is it was founded by artists, for artists. It was founded as an artist collaborative. And though we now call ourselves a museum and we don't sell art off the walls, we are still very much about artistic creativity and about supporting the careers of artists. Mm-hmm. I didn't give you a chance to jump in, did I?
Absolutely. I think you're excited about our role in the present, and you're excited about our role in the past. And I'm excited about kind of our role in the future and being a part of how art's developing and what's coming next. And seeing that all unfold is really exciting. Yeah.
Leah and Hannah are both artists. I am not an artist. I won't lay claim to that. But it's so important to me that we have artists on the staff and that I give you room to continue making art. And I think that's so important that you're involved in that invention and creativity.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I am liking to include in this podcast is everyone's journey to the Midcoast. So people really love to hear the stories behind the people at the organizations. And I think that the Midcoast is another speaker here on the podcast today. And we don't have that mic'd up. So I would love for you all to share what makes the Midcoast so special. And how does CMCA intersect with that?
Kind of want to put you on the spot first because you have the deepest
fair.
connection with the Midcoast.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Midcoast, and my dad's a craftsman or an artist, really, and there's always been artists in my family, and I moved away for a little bit, but ended up coming back here. I love the area, and I find that it has, like I already mentioned, a really rich history of artists in the community. And growing up and being surrounded by all of the artists and all of the different activities, there's art fairs and so many workshops that you can do, and just the seasonality of the Midcoast has been really appealing for my creativity.
And I know you went away to study art, and you had internships, residencies in different places like Portugal, I think, even, right? And Canada. But something brought you back, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like I already mentioned, I love the seasonality. I love that it's a constantly changing landscape, even though it remains the same place that we know and love, the Midcoast. It is always changing, and there's always different opportunities to engage with the world, whether that's carving ice sculptures in the park at the library, or I don't know, frolicking outside and trying to capture the shadows of wildflowers.
Yeah, which is something you do in your art.
Yeah.
Leah, I don't remember how you got here.
Yeah, I don't know if you know. And I will say no one's more surprised than me. I moved here from New York City, and it was sort of the height of the pandemic, and New York was a challenging place to be. So it was meant to be for 3 months, short term. 4 years later, I'm still here. But that really, the arts community and finding other creative people, and there being so much support for creators here is a big part of why I stayed. And honestly, the museum too. I was kind of a CMCA super fan before I started working there. I went to all the talks and all the events. So it's cool to be on the other side of the curtain now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have maybe the longest, most circuitous path. So I grew up in Michigan, and I came to the East Coast, actually not to the East Coast, but to Massachusetts to go to school. And then I had an internship in the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and I met my wife there, and she grew up in Rockport. So that was the beginning of my connection to Maine. So I came here. I've been coming here for like 30 years, but mostly for short periods, for holidays and things like that. But then as I was finishing graduate school, I became director of Victoria Mansion in Portland, Maine, and I was there, 10 years. Different part of Maine. Portland, when you're up here, seems so different, but it's very much Maine. And I got embedded here, and I absorbed the Maine ethos from having family here, but also working here. And then I went to a couple of other places, southern Vermont and Greenwich, Connecticut. Greenwich, great contrast to this. But then we were moving back anyway, and this opportunity opened up, and it's kind of amazing to me. And one of the things that's most amazing to me is the welcoming community and how they remembered me. There's a famous lunch at Colby College, an arts lunch, and people came up to me last summer and they remembered me from 15 years ago, and just welcomed me back with open arms. That's so great. But at the bottom of it, I'll say what brought me to CMCA was that creative tradition again, that it's about this creativity, which is so thick in Maine. I mean, you're all here, and so you may not realize how unusual this is. This is so unusual to have art at this level, this standard of quality going on in such a small area. This is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, through Camden Famous, I have got to meet so many incredibly accomplished people. It's like actually normal people are the oddity in this little part of Maine, which is so fun. So one of the things that we have talked about on some of the other episodes is the heartbeat of the Midcoast, and how some of the very cool people that we've had on the podcast so far they make up the heartbeat. So we've had the Strand Theater, we've had the Apprentice Shop, both are in Rockland, and then we have CMCA. And so I would love for you to share about how you feel like you fit in there. I know that Rockland is widely considered the art capital of Maine.
Widely considered to be the art capital of Maine. I will say here and now it really is. I ask folks in Portland, and they say that, yeah, it's kind of Rockland has the shade. And Rockland likes to claim it's one of the art capitals of the world, which maybe is stretching a little bit, but let's believe that for a moment. But yeah, we're part of a much larger group, and that's what's so important to CMCA, because there are two museums, a half block apart, and that is remarkable. Two complementary museums. I talked about how we don't collect, and we're about this moment. The Farnsworth does collect, and they're about this moment certainly very much, but they also have a historical collection. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole avenue of art galleries, which is so important. And there's this visual arts community that extends certainly from Thomaston, where Karma Gallery is in the summer, and Interlock Gallery is, and then all the way north, certainly, I mean, here in Camden, galleries, but probably all the way north to Belfast. Do you think this arts community of the Midcoast And I've just been talking about visual art, but we've got performing arts, so with Bay Chamber, and we've got film arts with Camden International Film Festival and the Strand, which is doing performance. So we're part of this huge arts community, which is just to us so important. And I know you, Hannah, have especially been pushing collaborations.
Definitely. Yeah. Growing up here, again, you end up meeting a lot of people and kind of finding different communities that you fit into. And I've worked at the film festival, the Camden International Film Festival, as well as CMCA for a while. Have been, pushing for that one. But besides that, I think that there's so many great creative organizations in the area that I think CMCA kind of works with all of them in a way. We're not just a place for visual arts, or we want to be a platform for the community and to collaborate with the community to make all kinds of creative things happen. And it feels really important to me that we do that.
Yeah. And Leah, for you also?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that is true in the arts community, but even just the larger culture of the area, there's so much openness to like businesses supporting businesses and organizations collaborating, and people tend to just say yes to things when you come to them with ideas. Like that's really been my experience at CMCA, but also in the Midcoast in general. I'm used to having to like fight a little harder, so it's just sort of nice to just have people excited about ideas. And
There's another organization that's so important to creativity and ideas, and that's Pachaksha. And to put you on the spot, you spoke, which I can't believe what courage you had to get up on the stage in front of all those people. I was sitting in the audience. You were on stage. So to tell about that, what that means to this community to have that here.
Yeah, I think that's like a very good kind of microcosm of what we're talking about, because it's a lot of people with different skill sets and interests coming together and sharing. So it's a presentation format, 20 slides, 20 seconds a slide. And it always sells out and it's very beloved. But I think it really points to how many interesting people we have around who are really passionate about what they do, because it happens 4 times a year. There's always speakers. It's always sold out. So I love that the CMCA is a sponsor and is really involved. And it's another great example of collaboration amongst organizations. Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about a few minutes ago is the past, the present, and the future of CMCA. And so I wonder if you could each speak to that. Maybe you'll speak about the past.
Okay.
And you the present, and you the future.
Ooh, yeah.
The ghosts of Camden present. I'll let you start.
So let me see. You're the ghost of the future, so you have to wear scary clothes or be scary, right?
Sure, you can do it.
I get to be the jolly guy talking about the past. So, a great tradition and a great history. It was founded in 1952 in Rockport, and originally it was called Maine Coast Artists, and it was founded by artists to show their work and to sell their work. So from the beginning, it was a grassroots organization, always based in Rockport. It wandered around a while, and then it got the old wooden firehouse right on the main street, and it was there for maybe 60 years. Vibrant center of the community, and a vibrant center for showing art and for creation and for connecting. Connecting is very important to me too. That's an important thing of institutions. They're a place you go and you meet people, and you get to meet people that you hope sometimes are different from you, but sometimes are like you. You make friends of a lifetime there. So we had that long tradition. And then this is getting close to the present. 10 years ago, we decided to move. We had changed our name to the Center for Maine Contemporary Art and began calling ourselves a museum. And we built this new building in Rockland. Somebody said to me recently, it's probably the greatest building built in Maine this century. And I think they're right, probably. So that's the building we're in, and the building has a lot to do with define what we do now. Mm-hmm. How about you jump in?
Okay, so presently, I don't know where to begin here.
You manage the building and you install the building. You're so much about this moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I guess. Yeah, touching on what you said earlier about the collection, we don't have a permanent collection, not really. So we are constantly cycling through artists that are relevant in the now, and we try to give a platform for artists that we may not see otherwise, and we try to also highlight artists that we think are amazing that we do see. It's I don't know. We strive for a mixture, I'd say.
Yeah, kind of a mixture of established masters, but people who are just at the cutting edge are having their first show, right?
Yeah. And I think our building, it's truly beautiful and spacious, and I really appreciate that it has an education wing to it. I went to school for art education initially, so I think that it's important that we engage with our community in that way and make art accessible to the public of all ages. We've got our art lab program does work for all ages, and we hold workshops for the Bartlett Assisted Living Center as well as kids. I think that's really important, engaging the community with artists that are there showing their work at the time, or now rather.
Yeah, so sometimes teaching artists in the art lab, and I love that you're going from kids to adults. So we have memory people who are having memory issues come in for programs, and we're going out in the schools too. I mean, we have huge numbers, like more than 2,000 people a year through our education programs.
Yeah, we do. It's immense.
I've never asked you this question. You grew up here. Did you go to classes at Maine Coast Artists when you were a little kid?
I don't remember as a little kid, but I got involved in CMCA once again when I was in college. I realized that I had this amazing thing on my own doorstep at home, and would travel home to work at the desk and just be a part of it and meet all of the amazing artists in the community, and sometimes take workshops, and it was all right there, and
right there on your
incredible.
doorstep.
I think it's really great that we do artist talks with every exhibition. There's an artist talk for the artist that happens 12 times a year essentially, and that's always been really important to me as well, and something that's really fun to sit on and hear people, our community's artists, their process, and how they view their art. I think that adds a unique factor. You get to see the art, but then also hear about it and talk with the artist. That's
12 times a year, because we do 12 shows a year. That's kind of an insane exhibition schedule, isn't it? Hannah installs every exhibition.
Wow.
Don't ask her about the insane schedule.
Yeah, but it's good. I think that it's important that we show all of the artists, and I think that we keep it fresh.
Well, I think you teed me up perfectly to talk about the future, because I was going to say, like, all of our youth programming and support that we have for young artists who are the present, the art they're doing now is exciting, but will also continue to grow. And it's nice to be able to be a part of, exposing them and providing materials. And I really can't say enough wonderful things about the education team. It's really such a huge part of what the organization does, and such an important part. Yeah.
I think one thing people would probably love to learn about is how you choose whose art is going to be chosen and featured on a show.
I'm looking at Hannah. So we don't have a curator right now. So so in the past we had a dynamic, accomplished person, Suzette McAvoy, who was kind of in many ways the person who created the new CMCA, who moved it to Rockland and had the vision of the new building. And she was both director and chief curator. And we've now divided the role. So my role is to be an advocate for the museum. That's what I'm doing today, right? But I'm not the curator, and we are hiring a curator right now. So the future, I can't say exactly, except that they'll be choosing them. But Hannah and I have been choosing somewhat. It's been said that there are artists lined up. The joke is on Winter Street to have exhibitions there, because it's, I'll put this out there boldly, it's the greatest place to show contemporary art in the state of Maine. We have this amazing gallery, which is 50 feet square and 25 feet tall, and with northern light. Artists line up who want to get there, but so tell us a little more how
Yeah.
it works.
I think that a really big factor in picking artists, I mean, the few that we've chosen, I've been aware of through our biennial, which is open for submissions right now until April 20th.
Yes.
But it's always a good way to survey the community and kind of glance at what artists are doing right now and how they want to show their work in the world, and we accept project proposals as well as images of work, and it's uh nice to be able to see it, a piece by the artist, or like they put, assuming people put their best foot forward when they apply to the biennial, we can then go and dig a little bit deeper on their background as an artist, their portfolio, and I think that that's I don't know, a really helpful tool for selecting artists.
So it's a great way for discovering what's going on there. And obviously, as the name suggests, every other year biennial, and we issue an open call, and we tend to choose like 40 artists. And I think the only requirement is they have to be significantly connected to Maine. They don't have to live in Maine, but significantly connected. And it has to be art of the last 2 years, right? So it's, and that's a great way to discover new artists. And then I think also, we've had guest curators also, but your goal and the goal of the guest curator and future curator and mine and yours too is just to notice artists and say, and one of the ways to notice them is through the biennial, but just to notice what's going on out there and say, this person deserves a show right now. I mean, that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, being a community center as CMCA is, we do have a lot of workshops, events, and openings, and it's always that's always a really great way for people to connect and share their story and their own art as well. It's another key factor, I'd say, in showing art at CMCA.
Yeah. And you're deeply connected in the local arts community, and you've been an artist in Maine for a couple decades, pretty much. She's like 17 years old, but she's been doing it for 2 decades already. So you know a lot of artists, and you go to openings, but you just know them, right? And that's part of it. You go to studios too, artist studio visits.
Yeah,
and you do a lot of that, right?
Yeah, I think that I feel really lucky to have grown up here around other amazing artists that are in the community. And we're just surrounded by creative people with a lot of creative enthusiasm that want to make things together.
Making is such a deep tradition in Maine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And that's part of what you both do, making. And I'm looking at you, Leah. So you were a maker before you came here, right? But
I would love to hear a little bit about what she was doing in New York, because it was really exciting.
Thank you. So bit of a pivot into the art world for me, but my background is really design. And so I'm coming from working in the fashion industry for years. My background is in fashion design and textiles, but always been interested in the arts, and those things there's not a hard line there. They're always interacting and always in communication. But it's been really lovely to be in this fine art world. And then I still have that hand in retail, working on the retail portion at CMCA, and then doing design in-house. So haven't fully left that part of myself.
But you're not revealing that you make things with your own hands too.
I do, yes. I also do a lot of art education work. I teach art workshops in the area, and then do have a fine arts practice for myself as well. So a few different elements there.
So we're going to be releasing this season of the podcast this summer in 2025. And I love for people to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go to the CMCA for this and this and this. So do you want to tell the audience what you have going on this summer?
Who's going to jump in?
Oh gosh. So we have an exhibition opening on May 24th. And that will be followed by artist talks that are yet to be scheduled. And I'm sure there will be workshops that go along with that, yet to be scheduled. We'll have Art Lab consistently open throughout the summer. We also have our art party, the date of which is escaping
July
me.
2.
First week of July.
There we
second.
go.
Okay.
2 days before the 4th of July. Yep.
Yes, and what else are we doing?
Well, we're gonna have 3 amazing exhibitions this summer. So the headliner, and I say that, we love all our artists. They're all equal, of course, but the headliner, because she's in the main gallery, is Nicole Wittenberg, who's an artist who's both in New York City and painting right here in Camden. In fact, she's painting the paintings for our exhibition right now. Should we reveal that she's making it? The paint will barely be dry, but she's doing paintings at huge scale, painting them for the main gallery, 9 by 11 feet of Maine imagery. So that will be very cool. She's a major artist, and Fiden is releasing a monograph on her about the same time as that show. As Hannah said, opens May 4, but then Carly Truss, sorry, May 24. That's right.
The other show's closed.
The other show's closed on May 4.
That would be impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannah would turn the entire museum in one day. That's a challenge I could give you, right?
Nope.
And then Carly Trosclair, who is a New Orleans artist, but she was given an award by the Ellis Beauregard Foundation, which is a local foundation, a national award, and she'll be showing in the Bruce Brown Gallery. And how to describe that installation sculpture? Is that a good?
Yeah. I'd say that's a great way to describe that. Yeah.
And then the third show is Elizabeth Atterbury making sculpture. I think most of it new, kind of really cool stuff. And that will be in the Hughes Gallery.
Yeah.
So 3 great shows this summer, very colorful. And it's an exciting year to come to CMCA to discover it and visit. Yeah.
All very large scale as well. Kind of interesting.
Elizabeth's works are large scale?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I can't wait to see it.
So you guys are in the book that we have coming out, The Insider's Guide to Midcoast, Maine, which will be out this summer. And we also have Cape Air in the book. And when we were talking to Cape Air, they were talking about, we really want to get people coming to Rockland. And we know that they come to Rockland for the art scene. And so you're obviously a huge part of that. But how else do you intersect with the Farnsworth and with all the amazing galleries that are both right in Rockland, but also in Camden and other parts of the Midcoast?
Well, I could jump in, but I'm probably going to have you jump in more. I mean, we're great compliments to the Farnsworth. I mentioned that we don't collect, and that gives us the freedom. Yeah, it gives us freedom to not be connected to the past and be about this moment and looking forward. But the Farnsworth has such great collections, and their signature artists, of course, are the Wyeth, Andrew and Jamie Wyeth, but also Alex Katz. You can encounter, these major artists, Yvonne Jacquet and Lois Dodd, at the Farnsworth and 19th century art there. So we're such perfect complements and located just a half block apart. So we get along very well with the Farnsworth, and it's really the reason we moved from Rockport to Rockland was to be closer there, with the conviction that 2 museums close together could complement each other and bring attendance to each other and lift each other up. The galleries, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. I think that we also, as I was talking about with the biennial, it's a great way to see a sampling of what's happening currently in the area, but the galleries are another way to see that. We end up interacting with the same artists, different artists as well, but yeah, there's a lot of overlap with artists in the community, and then artists that are coming to CMCA and then having shows at the gallery. So it goes both directions. I think that's a fun and exciting opportunity to be able to have that communication with the galleries. And also, because we are a nonprofit, we don't sell artists' work, but working with the galleries around the area kind of gives those artists an opportunity to sell their work and to make money and profit from their careers as artists, which feels important too.
Yeah.
Another way we collaborate is through First Fridays. So First Friday of the month over the summers, all the streets open, all the galleries are open late, both museums are free. Camden National is our sponsor for that. And it's a really, really, a lot of people come for the first time that time. And so it's a nice way to get people in the building. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad you called out First Fridays because I meant to call that out earlier. And it's really important that people know it's such a big deal.
It is.
And you do it all year long. Is that true?
We do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Farnsworth does. Am I right about that? But we turn off the switch during the cold, dark months for a little while. What, 4 months that we don't do it? Probably, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
And we'll start again in May.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. And Hannah, one thing I know about you that we haven't called out yet when we're talking about CMCA and galleries locally, you're at Page Gallery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Right here in Camden, Page Gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. So friendly to work with and supportive of my art career, and yeah, like CMCA is also. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Hannah is madly, intensively, joyously working on 2 shows this summer. Right?
Yeah.
Which suddenly seems just around the corner.
It is right around the corner, intensely and intently, definitely. Yeah. One of them is at Seidel House in Freeport, which is a fun barn gallery. And then the other is at Page Gallery, which, we've just mentioned. It's an amazing place for local artists to show work as well. And
And for Seidel House, you're creating, if I understand, it's an immersive artwork. You can actually, like, huge scale, and you can kind of walk amongst it.
Yeah.
Can you walk within it?
That is part of my plan. It's still unfolding.
It's called creativity. I mean, you discover while you're going along, right?
Yes, definitely. It's a journey. It's a process. Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish the community knew about CMCA or tourists? Because both will be listening.
Look at the 2 of you for that.
Anyone who's wandering along Main Street for the first time, I would like them to know, turn down Winter Street, and come visit us. Yeah, I think we're not right on the main drag, so I think sometimes people don't find their way. So that would be my hope. Yeah.
I'd like for people to know how accessible the information about the art that we show and the artists are. We have Katerina Wesleyan showing right now, and she's there. She's been there almost weekly. Just randomly throughout the day, she'll pop in and prove her felt around. Her installation is mainly felt, and it's an ongoing. It's a set installation, but it's also, she really cares about it, and I feel like most definitely all of the artists actually that show with us really care about their art and end up coming in to CMCA throughout the duration of their show, and if you happen to wander in off the street, you know the chances of meeting an artist are pretty high.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I would say that our superpower is twofold, that we're about Maine. So we're very much about Maine art. So if you're coming from New York City or California, this is a way to discover Maine and what's going on here. And that's the other part of it, is the now. We're about the contemporary. We're about this moment. And Maine is this amazing creative place. And if you want to see that creativity, come to CMCA.
What are you famous for? I know you just kind of answered that, but...
What are we famous for?
Showing a rotating selection of the arts on view now, I'd say. It's interacting with our community and giving a platform for artists to interact.
Yeah, I think we're famous for being, I mean, an artist told me this, you're the greatest place to show contemporary art in the state of Maine. And we've had some really surprising exhibitions, like the Wade Kavanaugh and Stephen Wen, which people still talk about, which I didn't see. You saw it, right?
Yeah.
It was, so the main gallery, which is 50 feet square, was filled with, it was kind of like a waterfall or waves of curved wood, right?
Yeah.
And you could walk in it. I mean, mind-blowing things. So we're famous for that. And then we're so famous for advancing the careers of artists like, actually, Jamie Wyeth had an exhibition with CMCA in his teens.
Oh, really?
And Alex Katz, who's now in his 90s, has been showing since he was in his 20s, probably. You know, famous for that, for launching artists and helping artists along. And then probably now famous for our building, the building is this
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
serene, modernist masterpiece, and just such a great place to show contemporary art.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we're famous
Yeah.
for?
To kind of go off of that, I feel like a common experience that people have that we'll observe when they come in for the first time is they'll kind of exclaim like, wow. And so much so that it's on a lot of our merch, that expression, wow. But I'd like to think we're famous for providing this kind of experience of surprise and delight. And you just kind of walk into this beautiful little capsule of a building that contains all these beautiful, surprising new pieces of art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've never had a slogan, wow, now, have we? Because that
No.
seems like a natural. And our website address is cmcanow.org. And so
Yep.
interesting. You'll have to do something with that.
Yeah.
Wow, now.
You heard it
I
here
just-
first.
I just found an old CMCA mug at home that it said "Fear no art," and
Fear no
I
art.
love that. I feel, yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
another great slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you? I think you just answered part of that, but where
Mhm.
on Instagram and Facebook? What is your handle?
For CMCA.
Yes.
I believe it's CMCA Now on Instagram.
Yes.
Which is also our website, as Robert
Mhm.
mentioned.
CMCanow.org.
Yeah.
And if you want to give your personal handles,
Sure.
you're welcome to do so for your art.
I'll plug my teaching and workshops. So that's Create Collective Workshops with an underscore between each word. But yeah.
Mine is at HM Berta. I have a lot of my own artwork on that. And yeah, there's also another one, HM Berta Cuts Paper, but it's been a while since I posted to that.
And you can see a lot of your work on Page Gallery's website also.
Yeah, Page Gallery is amazing at photographing my artwork. Me, not so much.
Yeah. I have to mention too, the Page Gallery Camden Famous Podcast episode, you are a hot topic. So I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Great.
And Leah's been selling herself short because she's a highly skilled master craftsman at paper marbling.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's our
Thank you
pleasure.
for having
Thanks
us.
thanks
Yeah.
for inviting us, having us here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jess Dean with Remax Jarrett & Cohn here in Midcoast, Maine. Our real estate agency has 4 offices across the Midcoast, but more importantly, we live and work in the communities we serve. Our agents aren't just here for real estate. We're showing up for our neighbors. We support local businesses, volunteer at events, and regularly give back through fundraisers and community initiatives. This isn't just where we work, it's home, and we care about the people who make it special. Find home with Remax Jarrett & Cohn.